Visualize the roots of your trees. It's so easy to see what's above the ground. As above, so below. And sometimes 3 times more. Literally, there's 3 times or more the biomass of the tree below the ground compared to above, extending in all directions, down and out. And as trees get larger, especially large standard trees, that taproot begins to form and stabilize that tree. And those are brown transport roots. Think of them as trunks and as branches extending laterally. And they are moving the photosynthates, those delicious carbons and sugars generated in photosynthesis. And they are moving them all around for the tree and also for all the other party animals and plants and fungi in the rhizosphere. And so those are the brown roots. And then there are the white roots, and they're quite ephemeral. Think of them as the leaves. And they are growing April through October. 2 main flushes, one in spring as the blossoms are emerging, another in late summer, early fall. In spring as the soil is warming up top in that first 6 inches of soil, and just then in later summer as that warmer soil is warming down below. That's where they're deepening as well. So those feeder roots, they only grow 1 to 2 inches, and they are constantly ebbing and flowing, being broken off and just rewoven back into the matrix of life that is the rhizosphere. Trees are so good at letting go. If you didn't know, one of the many ways we can learn and be nourished by our trees is learning to let go ourselves. And here's that lovely thing about those white feeder roots as well. They, 1 in 10, more or less, will become a brown root. And that is how those brown roots form from those white roots, always going a little deeper, a little wider. And yes, those feeder roots are predominantly in the top 6 inches of the soil. That's where the soil is warmest. That's also where there's minimal competition for nutrients, unless you're growing in sod. Have I mentioned grasses are just not great? But the comfrey, the wildflowers, the clover, go for it. There's so much diversity that isn't a grass that can thrive. And certainly in the first couple years of establishing those trees, that's why just having this 2-foot ring around your trees of compost and of mulch, not immediately touching your trunk, but immediately around them otherwise. So there's no other competition, and those white feeder roots can just say, yes, yes, yes. That is why that competition from grass is so not good, and why that deliciousness of the woodsy compost and wood-chipped marvelous universe is so good for your trees. And don't forget, as you're visualizing the roots, of all the soil, of all the arthropods, of all the worms, all the nematodes, don't forget the protozoans. Yes, visualize the roots and you among them.